The Cape Cod Commission is working to renew the Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone. We have details about an upcoming beach cleanup on Sandy Neck, and April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. Find out about how the Barnstable Police Department will be participating. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mannel. The Cape Cod Commission will soon update the Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone. To do that, the Commission is hoping to get lots of local help. Cape Cod Commission Executive Director Paul Niedzwiecki talked about the update during this week's Planning Board meeting.
So when we look at the Greater Hyannis Project, we've been having discussions or regional discussions. We're in the process of updating our regional policy plan. And some of the emerging themes in that, I think, are applicable to the Greater Hyannis area, and that's to introduce more housing, to promote a sustainable sort of Main Street economy, and to improve socioeconomic diversity, to get a more diverse group of people that living here, live here, and represent sort of a healthier mix for the community. So, what you see up there is a map. As a planning board, I'm sure you're familiar with it, but there is a large blue polygon around the larger study area. You'll see the growth incentive zone itself is green. In green, and that should look familiar. These out here are the major retail plazas along Route 132. So one of the big differences this time as we're looking towards reauthorization is to look at how that green space really is connected to other things that happen in town. Having been here 10 years ago when we did the first growth incentive zone, I really felt that that was one of the limitations, that we didn't look at how other surrounding neighborhoods and some of the local economic forces impacted directly what happened on Main Street. So we are kicking off the process here. The growth incentive zone had an expiration date after 10 years, so that the town, through the town manager's office, requested an extension of that, the growth incentive zone regulations. And the Cape Cod Commission granted that happily. So now we have technically until October 2017 to reauthorize the growth incentive zone. So we have been working with a small group of people that have I think it has 4 town councilors on the committee, just to ask some questions and see if we've got this right. So I think looking at both the 132 area and the Hyannis gives makes sense. They did too.
Niedzwiecki says the next few months will be focused on putting together a stakeholder committee to help craft the update. The current growth incentive zone expires in October of next year. Spring is just around the corner, and that means it's time to get our beaches ready for visitors. Sandy Neck staff will be hosting a beach cleanup early next month. Sandy Neck Beach Advisory Board Chair Rich French encouraged everyone to join in the fun.
And everyone, please attend. It's a very wonderful event. We have a lot of good times, and the food is absolutely delicious, and the cleanup is a lot of fun. A lot of folks that don't get a chance to get out to Sandy Neck, we try to take folks out there and get them all the way out if we can, and pick up all the debris that's floated in. And they work towards the parking lot, to which the MBBA at the end of the day has hot dogs and other goodies. So really, come on out. We're very proud of our beach, and we'd like you all to participate, and we try to keep it good and clean, and it's with help from you folks that it happens.
The Sandy Neck Beach Cleanup will be held Saturday, April 16th from 9 a.m. to noon. Participants should plan to meet at the Sandy Neck Gatehouse. And the Sandy Neck Gatehouse will open 7 days a week beginning April 1st. Beach Park Manager Nina Coleman says beachgoers need to be aware that several regulations have changed.
Just remind everybody we're in our off-season curfew right now, which is new. So it's a 4 p.m. curfew, and it has been quite pleasant out there for March. So we have been doing a curfew run and closing the gate on one side at 4 p.m. Another change in our regulations is the change to our camper regulations with regard to the requirement for a CO detector. And what we're doing is we're actually processing renewal applications right now. Many of you probably received your renewal application. And when we know it's a camper, which they check a box, we're actually providing a little note saying that they need to secure one of those, and also the quiet hours that are new this year for the generators. As I said, the beach continues to be very busy, and I remind everybody that dogs do have to be on leash now. There's a lot of dog-to-dog interaction because it's so nice out, and dogs off leash do cause issues. I'm sure that many of them are, well-mannered, but there's dogs that don't want to be run up to by another dog, and we are getting complaints. So we will address the public if we see that.
Coleman says those new regulations are already in effect. Next month is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and to find out more about what the Barnstable Police Department will be doing, Channel 18's Sarah Colvin talked with Deputy Chief Matthew Sonnabend.
So, Deputy Chief, a number of things to talk about today. Unfortunately, I'm going to begin with a tragic incident that occurred in Florida over the weekend involving the son of a local man. Tell me a little bit about what happened here.
Yes, unfortunately, in Florida, in the Tampa area, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, a local young man, John Cotfilla Jr. from Falmouth, had been hired down there 6 years ago, and he was killed in a traffic accident on a highway down there over the weekend. His father is a state police sergeant, and his brother is currently serving, recently getting hired by the Falmouth Police Department. So he has a long history of law enforcement tradition. And I was reviewing some of the stories down there, and obviously it always makes us mindful of when this stuff happens, and we want to acknowledge the service of these men. But in this instance, it appears as though a driver was driving the wrong way on a major highway down in Florida, and Officer Cotfilla was on his way back to the station after just finishing an accident report, actually. And there was a young woman placed a 911 call to the sheriff's office stating that there was somebody driving the wrong way on the highway, and that he was headed straight towards her. She tried pulling off to the side of the road, and Officer Cotfilla drove around her and positioned his vehicle between the wrong way driver and hers. She's right now in the news, as of this morning, crediting him with saving her life. And although it's a tragic circumstance, we just want to acknowledge his service, and obviously thoughts and prayers for his family at this time.
Absolutely, and it again highlights the dangerous job that you and your fellow officers do, Deputy Chief. It's you can be as safe as safe out there on the roads as you possibly can be, but there's always those those random things that occur that end in tragedy, unfortunately, like this. But as you say, there was a life saved, but also one lost.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but it's what we sign up for. But for all of us, everyone, you never know what card is coming next out of the deck, and it's just you have to appreciate what you're given every day.
Absolutely. Let's move on and talk a little bit about a grant that you're working on, and this would do some things about distracted driving. I think, are we talking about texting while driving and cell phones things of that nature?
Absolutely, and and I don't know who hasn't noticed these days with just people driving in a distracted manner, using phones or whatever they might be, driving on the highway or missing red lights, and just creating a dangerous situation out there. And the state does have a grant that numerous departments are participating in, but we're going to be participating from April 8th through the 29th, specifically focusing on patrols and sending them out there with the purpose of looking for distracted drivers. Hopefully putting the word out and raising the attention of people out there that this is not a safe activity to be engaging in.
We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll get the latest real estate numbers from Register of Deeds Jack Mead. We'll learn more about the Lumber Pond Conservation Area. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.